2.6 Controlling speed. Driving too fast is a major cause of fatal crashes. You must adjust your speed depending on driving conditions. These include traction, curves, visibility, traffic, and hills. Stopping distance. That's the perception distance plus the reaction distance plus the braking distance. That equals the total stopping distance. Okay, the perception distance is the distance your vehicle travels in ideal conditions. From the time your eyes see a hazard until your brain recognizes it, keep in mind certain mental and physical conditions can affect your perception distance. It can be affected greatly depending on visibility and the hazard itself. The average perception time for an alert driver is 1 3/4 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, this accounts for 142 feet. Reaction distance. The distance you will continue to travel in ideal conditions before you physically hit the brakes in response to a hazard seen ahead. The average driver has a reaction time of 3/4 of a second to 1 second. At 55 miles per hour, this accounts for 61 feet traveled. Braking distance. The distance your vehicle will travel in ideal conditions while you are braking. At 55 miles per hour on dry pavement with good brakes, it can take about 216 feet. Total stopping distance. The total minimum distance your vehicle will travel in ideal conditions with everything considered, including perception distance, reaction distance, and braking distance, until you can bring your vehicle to a complete stop. At 55 miles per hour, your vehicle will travel a minimum of 419 feet. See, they give the it looks like the different feet. Perception distance, the white is reaction distance, and the shaded area is the braking distance. You perceive the situation, you react to the situation, and you apply the brakes. That's why it's perception plus reaction plus braking. The effective speed on stopping distance. The faster you drive, the greater the impact or striking power of your vehicle. Whenever you double your speed from 20 to 40 miles per hour, the impact is 4 times greater. The braking distance is also 4 times longer. Triple your speed from 20 to 60 miles per hour, and the impact and braking distance is 9 times greater. At 60 miles per hour, your stopping distance is greater than the length of a football field. Increase the speed to 80 miles per hour, and the impact and braking distance are 16 times greater than at 20 miles per hour. High speeds greatly increase the severity of crashes and stopping distances. By slowing down, you reduce perception distance, reaction distance, and braking distance. The effective vehicle weight on stopping distance. The heavier the vehicle, the more work the brakes must do to stop it, and the more heat they absorb. But the brakes, tires, springs, and shock absorbers on heavy vehicles are designed to work best when the vehicle is fully loaded. Empty trucks require greater stopping distances because an empty vehicle has less traction. 2.6.2 Matching speed to the road surface. You can't steer or brake a vehicle unless you have traction. Traction is friction between the tires and the road. There are some road conditions that reduce traction and call for lower speeds. Slippery surfaces. It will take longer to stop, and it will be harder to turn without skidding when the road is slippery. Wet roads can double stopping distance. You must drive slower to be able to stop in the same distance as on a dry road. Reduce speed by about 1/3. That's slow from 55 to about 35 miles per hour on a wet road. On packed snow, reduce speed by a half or more. If the surface is icy, reduce speed to a crawl and stop driving as soon as you can safely do so. Identifying slippery surfaces. Sometimes it's hard to know if the road is slippery. Here are some signs of slippery roads. Shaded areas. Shady parts of the road will remain icy and slippery long after open areas have melted. Bridges. When the temperature drops, bridges will freeze before the road will. Be especially careful when the temperature is close to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Melting ice. Slight melting will make ice wet. Wet ice is much more slippery than ice that is not wet. Black ice. Black ice is a thin layer that is clear enough that you can see the road underneath it. It makes the road look wet. Anytime the temperature is below freezing and the road looks wet, watch out for black ice. Vehicle icing. An easy way to check for ice is to open the window and feel the front of the mirror support, or antenna. If there's ice on these, the road surface is probably starting to ice up. Just after rain begins. Right after it starts to rain, the water mixes with oil left on the road by vehicles. This makes the road very slippery. If the rain continues, it will wash oil away. Hydroplaning. In some weather, water or slush collects on the road. When this happens, your vehicle can hydroplane. It's like water skiing. The tires lose their contact with the road and have little or no traction. You may not be able to steer or brake. You can regain control by releasing the accelerator and pushing the clutch. This will slow your vehicle and let the wheels turn freely. If the vehicle is hydroplaning, do not use the brakes to slow down. If the drive wheels start to skid, push in the clutch to let them turn freely. It does not take a lot of water to cause hydroplaning. Hydroplaning can occur at speeds as low as 30 miles per hour if there is a lot of water. Hydroplaning is more likely if tire pressure is low or the tread is worn. The grooves in a tire carry away the water. If they aren't deep, they don't work well. Road surfaces where water can collect can create conditions that cause a vehicle to hydroplane. Watch for clear reflections, tire splashes, and raindrops on the road. These are indications of standing water. Speed and curves. Drivers must adjust their speed for curves in the road. If you take a curve too fast, two things can happen. The tires can lose their traction and continue straight ahead, so you skid off the road, or the tires may keep their traction and the vehicle rolls over. Tests have shown that trucks with a high center of gravity can roll over at the posted speed limit for a curve. Slow to a safe speed before you enter a curve. Braking in a curve is dangerous because it is easier to lock the wheels and cause a skid. Slow down is needed. Don't ever exceed the posted speed limit for the curve. Be in a gear that will let you accelerate slightly in the curve. This will help you keep control. Speed and distance ahead. You should always be able to stop within the distance you can see ahead. Fog, rain, or other conditions may require that you slow down. to be able to stop in the distance you can see. At night, you can't see as far with low beams as you can with high beams. When you must use low beams, slow down. Speed and traffic flow. When you're driving in heavy traffic, the safest speed is the speed of other vehicles. Vehicles going the same direction at the same speed are not likely to run into one another. In many states, speed limits are lower for trucks and buses than for cars. It can vary as much as 15 miles per hour. Use extra caution when you change lanes or pass on these roadways. Drive at the speed of the traffic, if you can, without going at an illegal or unsafe speed. Keep a safe following distance. The main reason drivers exceed speed limits is to save time. But anyone trying to drive faster than the speed of traffic will not be able to save much time. The risks involved are not worth it. If you go faster than the speed of other traffic, you'll have to keep passing other vehicles. This increases the chances of a crash, and it is more tiring. Fatigue increases the chance of a crash. Going with the flow of traffic is safer and easier. Speed on downgrades. Your vehicle's speed will increase on downgrades because of gravity. Your most important objective is to select and maintain a speed that is not too fast for the total weight of the vehicle and cargo, not too fast for the length of the grade, not too fast for the steepness of the grade, not too fast for the road conditions, and not too fast for the weather. If a speed limit is posted or there is a sign indicating maximum safe speed, never exceed the speed shown. Also look for and heed warning signs indicating the length and steepness of the grade. You must use the braking effect of the engine as the principal way of controlling your speed on downgrades. The braking effect of the engine is greatest when it is near the governed RPMs and the transmission is in the lower gears. Save your brakes so you will be able to slow or stop as required by road and traffic conditions. Shift your transmission to a low gear before starting down the grade and use the proper braking techniques. Please read carefully the section on going down long, steep downgrades safely in mountain driving. Roadway work zones. Speeding traffic is the number one cause of injury and death in roadway work zones. Observe the posted speed limits at all times when approaching and driving through a work zone. Watch your speedometer and don't allow your speed to creep up as you drive through long sections of road construction. Decrease your speed for adverse weather or road conditions. Decrease your speed even further when a worker is close to the roadway. Okay, subsections 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6 test your knowledge. 1. How far ahead does the manual say you should look? 2. What are two main things to look for ahead? 3. What is your most important way to see the sides and rear of your vehicle? 4. What does communicating mean in safe driving? 5. Where should your reflectors be placed when stopped on a divided highway? 6. What three things add up to total stopping distance? 7. If you go twice as fast, will your stopping distance increase by 2 or 4 times? 8. Empty trucks have the best braking. True or false? 9. What is hydroplaning? 10. What is black ice? These questions may be on the test. If you can't answer them all, reread subsections 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6. All right, 2.7, managing space. To be a safe driver, you need space all around your vehicle. When things go wrong, space gives you time to think and to take action. To have space available when something goes wrong, you need to manage space. While this is true for all drivers, it is very important for large vehicles to take up more space, and they require more space for stopping and turning. Space ahead. Of all the space around your vehicle, it is the area ahead of the vehicle, the space you're driving into, that is most important. The need for space ahead. Of all the space around your vehicle, it is the area ahead of the vehicle, the space you're driving into, that is most important. The need for space ahead. You need space ahead in case you must suddenly stop. According to accident reports, the vehicle that trucks and buses most often run into is the one in front of them. The most frequent cause is following too closely. Remember, if the vehicle ahead of you is smaller than yours, it can probably stop faster than you can. You may crash if you are following too closely. Heavy vehicle formula for time interval following distance. 1 second required for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds under 40 miles per hour. Above 40 miles per hour, use same formula, then add 1 second for the additional speed. 40-foot truck under 40 miles per hour, 4 seconds. 50-foot truck above 40 miles per hour, 6 seconds. So for every 1 second for 1 second for the 10 feet and 1 second because it's above. So 4 plus 2 is 6. 60-foot truck under 40 miles per hour. Add 20 more feet to the truck, add 2 more seconds. 1 second per 10 feet. All right, how much space? How much space should you keep in front of you? One good rule says you need at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds below 40 miles per hour. At greater speeds, you must add 1 second for safety. For example, if you are driving a 40-foot vehicle, you should leave 4 seconds between you and the vehicle ahead. In a 60-foot rig, you'll need 6 seconds. Over 40 miles per hour, you need 5 seconds for a 40-foot vehicle and 7 seconds for a 60-foot vehicle. To know how much space you have, wait until the vehicle ahead passes a shadow on the road, a pavement marking, or some other clear landmark. Then count off the seconds like this: 1001, 1002, and so on until you reach the same spot. Compare your count with the rule of 1 second for every 10 feet of length. If you are driving a 40-foot truck and only counted up to 2 seconds, you're too close. Drop back a little and count again until you have 4 seconds of following distance, or 5 seconds if you're going over 40 miles per hour. After a little practice, you will know how far back you should be. Remember to add 1 second for speeds above 40 miles per hour. Also remember that when the road is slippery, you need much more space to stop. Space behind. We'll continue this in the next video. Thank you, Lord willing.